Well, welcome everybody to this edition of Let's Talk. My name is Jennifer, and I'm honored to be here to open and close this webinar. Whether you are watching live or catching this as a recording, we are so glad you are here. And let me tell you, you are in for a massive treat this evening. That is to say, you're going to get some massive value from our discussion. As we enter the cold and flu season, we're going to want to do everything we can to help protect our immunity. Although the tips you're going to be getting during this webinar isn't just good for the fall season, but all year long. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to our speakers for tonight. And before we bring them on, let me just shout them out and tell you a little bit about them so that you all feel confident that the information and value you will be getting tonight is coming from the real deal. And let me tell you, they are the real deal. Our speakers tonight are Claire Stoll and Dr. Mary Ann Martin. Claire has been a physical therapist for over 25 years and worked in many different settings. Claire moved to California 17 years ago when she and her husband decided to found a private physical therapy practice, which specializes in providing concierge physical therapy to the aging population in Orange County, California. And she became a certified exercise expert for aging adults by the American Physical Therapy Association in pursuit of this goal to provide care to seniors that will effectively build bone and muscle to maximize independence, function, confidence, and connection. Who doesn't want that? She's a girl mom to 4 daughters, married to Rob for 29 years. We're so glad you are here, Claire. And joining Claire tonight is Dr. Mary Ann Martin, aka Dr. Hormone Hacker. She was actually voted best endocrinologist in Nevada in 2024. She's a disruptor of the traditional sick care model and taking the time to listen and having the expertise to dive deep into metabolic and hormonal health. She then empowers her patients and clients to learn the lifestyle interventions to improve, prevent, and reverse chronic disease. So that's what we're here to talk about tonight. We've brought them on so all of us tuning in can be empowered to create the health we are seeking. Claire, Dr. Mary Ann, welcome to the webinar and thank you for pouring into us tonight. We're excited to learn from you. So let's take it away, ladies.
Well, Claire, I am excited that we get to connect the dots between metabolism, hormones, and your immune system. And you know what I'm excited even more about is with Optavia's 3.0 focus, we are going to talk about cellular upgrades that are going to ripple through every system of our body.
Yes, absolutely. And what I'm really interested in is having this conversation with you today, Dr. Martin, because I know it's on most of our minds, many of our minds, whether you're a man or a woman, is trying to understand the connection between our hormones and our metabolism. And specifically, I'm curious about the connection between perimenopause and our metabolism.
Well, before we can even talk about that and estrogen and everything that happens, we have to understand insulin because insulin is that most important ingredient that it takes all of that sugar from your food and moves it from your blood into the cells so that you can actually use it for energy. So the problem is if we don't make enough insulin, all of that sugar stays in the blood. If we make too much insulin, which is insulin resistance, prediabetes, metabolic syndrome, now we're actually storing the sugar as fat. And so the problem is that during perimenopause, we become more insulin resistant because estrogen declines, and estrogen usually improves our insulin sensitivity. And there was a study in 2021 that showed that women going through perimenopause automatically, like before you can blink an eye, you've already had a 20% increase in your fasting sugar, in your LDL cholesterol, in your triglyceride. And so we have to get back to the basics in just knowing that as women, we're going to hit the wall, the hormonal wall, really fast. Now, men, they are going to hit a hormonal wall too, but they have a much slower decline. What happens in men is their testosterone level starts to go down at age 30 at a rate of 1 to 2% per year. But by age 45, 1 out of 3 men are already low in testosterone. And we know that low T has very dangerous consequences. Number one, it increases your insulin resistance, putting you at risk for type 2 diabetes. It increases the bad cholesterol and triglycerides, putting you at risk for heart disease. It also increases belly fat, specifically visceral fat, which is the fat that's around the organs, which is the most dangerous kind. And it reduces muscle and bone, leaving men feeling weak and frail.
Mm, wow. It impacts men and women.
Yes.
And now that we understand kind of the dysregulation that happens between estrogen and testosterone as we're aging, aging is inevitable, but how we age is not. What can you share with us some things that we can do about this?
You know, something encouraging that I read is that even just 11 pounds of weight loss reduces hot flashes by 30% and naturally boosts testosterone 3%. That's a big deal. But beyond that, there are a couple of things that we really need to prioritize. Number one, we absolutely need to add color to our plates because we know dark green leafy vegetables and berries and bell peppers, these are all going to have antioxidants that reduce inflammation. The second thing is we have to strength train at least 2 to 3 times a week because we know that building muscle is going to reduce insulin resistance and help us balance our hormones. And number three, we can't forget to de stress every single day, even just 5 to 7 minutes of walking in nature or deep breathing. Anything is going to help reduce cortisol and boost our immune system.
So that was my next question is how can our metabolism really affect our immune system?
Here is the saddest statistic, Claire. Right now in America, 90% of people have suboptimal metabolic health, which means they have more inflammation, they have more infections, they have a weaker immune system. And also, when we have poor blood sugar control, this also leads to everything from getting colds more often to even cancer. And so, again, you know, the other things that are very important is sleep. 7 to 9 quality hours is so key because our metabolism resets and repairs while we rest. And again, we just have to make sure that in this world where we talk about food insecurity, not having enough food, we have an epidemic of nutrition insecurity. So everything that we do has to be focused on protein and fiber and the most nutrients that we can possibly get with every single meal.
I've never heard it said like that, the food insecurity, but that's really profound because how many times have people asked you, what do I eat? What can I do? And you just described it really well. Just have a really colorful plate of lots of different healthy food groups and have some balanced meals. That's
Mhm.
awesome. Now I'm wondering, so say we do all these things and we still get sick. It's going to happen. There's too many different bugs out there and viruses. So how do we avoid, some unwanted calories? I know many of us are here really tonight focused on creating health and staying into what we call a fat burn.
Mhm.
So, when we do get sick, what are some things to watch out for as we're looking for the remedies to help us?
Well, Claire, if you are a tea lover, before you add that honey to your tea, let's make sure that we remember that 1 tablespoon of honey is 60 calories and it's all sugar. And the second thing is, some people like to take gummies, like vitamin C gummies, and a serving could be 2 to 3 of those gummies, equaling 15 to 45 calories. Again, 100% carbs and sugar. Now, what often happens during flu season is we have a cough, we automatically go and get the cough syrup, which can absolutely contain high fructose corn syrup, making inflammation and insulin resistance worse. And for people who may be on the go, instead of a cough syrup, they're popping the lozenges. Well, people don't just have one lozenge. It only lasts for like 15 minutes. You're having several lozenges a day, which can also be 10 to 25 calories per lozenge. So we have to really look at what are our remedies for colds and flus, and are they taking us out of fat burn?
So what are some suggestions? Are there some things that you can recommend that we do that don't contain those hidden calories?
Do you know what my favorite thing is? Is the Optavia chicken noodle soup. That does it for me every time. I love it. And I might add like some more vegetables to it, maybe even some more chicken to it. But the main thing is if I have tea, I pick a flavored tea where I love the taste of it so much, I don't need to add any sweetener to it.
Hmm. That's a great point. Thank you. That's such a great idea. I never thought about that with the chicken soup from Optavia because it's confused not only with like over 24 vitamins and minerals, but protein, carbs, and probiotics. Like what that's way better than a
My
combo.
comfort food.
Ultimately, that's great. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, but Claire, as the expert in movement, being a physical therapist, I would love for you to share with us what the connection is because it may not be obvious. Like, how does movement and muscle have anything to do with our immune system?
Yeah, muscle is the master metabolizer. It's the powerhouse to your health, longevity, and in, fighting infections. I've been sent in hospital rooms with people, I mean, ICU, and to provide physical therapy, people that have pneumonia and are very sick because movement is so important. Why? I'm just going to give you a little demonstration is here's your muscles. So when you contract your muscles, what you're doing is you're creating an incredible natural pump in your body. So as you're contracting your muscle, you're squeezing your blood vessels. And then when you relax it, it eases. And as you do this, you're creating this pump that's bringing blood cells throughout your body. So why is this really important? Is you want to circulate the blood, especially if you're sick, you're laying in bed, you're exhausted. There are some natural pumps, and let me tell you what I do with these patients. I'll just have them laying in bed, just tighten their body and relax it, tighten their legs and relax it, pump their ankles. That pump is not only going to circulate all the blood, but I also encourage them to breathe as they do that. You talked about really kind of reducing your cortisol and
Mhm.
having some breathing type component to that. So when you breathe in, like what happens is you're breathing in your nose and your diaphragm's actually pulling oxygen into the bottom lobes of your lungs. So you're maximizing your lung capacity. So oxygen is circulating. And all these blood vessels around our lungs are just absorbing oxygen. It's an amazing thing. And then what happens is the heart pumps that oxygenated blood back out and around to all the extremities. And you want to circulate that blood so you can boost your immunity. And I think, Dr. Martin, on a cellular level, what is happening there? What kind of blood cells are there creating improved immunity?
Well, so we're going to get to that when we talk about the bones. We're going to talk about how our bone marrow actually has a role in that. But you were talking to me about a longevity study that I think our audience would be very interested and encouraged to hear about.
Well, I wanted to share that was when we were preparing, I was talking to Dr. Martin about this because I often have people ask me, is it too late? And it's never too late. So, with the longevity study, they took an average of over 350 individuals, age average was 71. They did multiple types of exercises, and they found that the group that did heavy resistance training had improved strength and mobility lasting up to 4 years post study. So it's never too late. And I have an example I wanted to share with you because muscles, not only are they important to pump the blood, the strength of your muscles is really important. And the example I have is 10 years when I became a coach. I had a client that said yes to a program. He was 68 years old. Ever since then, not only has he been optimizing his health, but he's been going to the gym, walking. His wife actually said no. And the trajectory, now they're both 81, the trajectory has been really profound. And she is filling out paperwork for a caregiver for long-term care. She just got a scooter. Her obesity has progressed. Her diabetes has progressed. He has remained independent and mobile, and he's helping care for her. But the impact and the importance of muscle strength and using your muscles is from 60s. And that was a 68-year-old, and now he's 80 and still feeling the benefits.
It's almost like you just gave us a crystal ball into what our life could look like in 10 or 15 years if we currently practice what we need to build muscle and strong bones. That's very powerful. I will say though, we live in a generation of instant gratification. So if I don't want to wait 10 years to see the benefits of my work, what can I do today? Like, what can I do right now, sitting right here to improve my muscle strength?
Yes, because everything you do today does compound. 1% compounding to the future is significant in your life. So, one thing I want to share with you is when you get up and down from a chair, and I'll just show the example, you want to make sure every time you get up to grab something to eat, get in and out of your office chair, you want to do it without using your hands and you just push yourself up and down. You keep a straight back. And if you want to really push yourself, try to do 3 to 5 in a row every time. Can you imagine how many squats you get in a day every time you stood up if you did 3 to 5?
I love that. And it's so easy to do. We can do that throughout the day.
Yes, absolutely. Another thing is just really simple is in the chair, you just sit up nice and tall as opposed to slouched. The
Mhm.
impact, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes with the bones, is profound. Just lift that rib cage. Breathe in and out of the nose, and that diaphragm is a really powerful supportive muscle to your posture, but also to the strength and mobility of the tissues in your muscles.
Yeah, and you were kind of alluding to how important bones were. I will share with you that in my endocrinology practice, I often see women who are going through menopause, and within the first 5 to 7 years of menopause, they can lose up to 20% of their bone density. And that's just in the early stages. And the problem is that 1 out of 2 women are going to have a fracture because of osteoporosis. 1 out of 4 men suffer a fracture because they actually have higher peak bone mass and they're losing their bones slower than women. But when men get a fracture, it is very, very severe and often leads them to not be able to walk again. So it is so important to keep up your bone health because this is going to dictate our quality of life, whether we're going to need a scooter or a walker or whether we're independent. I mean, I know what kind of life I want to be able to live in my 70s and beyond.
Oh, absolutely. And what can we do about? We all have some tools. The exercise is a large component of it. There is genetic predisposition. I know that some people are more susceptible to osteoporosis than others, density. And so, one thing I wanted to share was it's actually a story of a coach who is a nurse, and her name is Jan. And she shared with me that when she had her bone density scan, she had osteoporosis at 2.7, and she's already one who exercises, and she was at a healthy weight. What did she do differently? Well, she followed the example of the instructions that you gave, Dr. Martin, and had a really colorful plate for her meal. She also incorporated a lot of the Optavia meal replacements that are, really have a lot of great nutrition in them. In addition to that, she added the essential amino acids. And what happened was a year later, she went back to the same location where the DEXA scan was taken, same individual who did the test on the same machine, and her score improved 3 points. And that's incredible. So she went from osteoporosis to osteopenia, and she is not giving up. She is still working on it. And so I wanted to share that with you is not only the movement, but also the nutrition.
Absolutely. And I know that sometimes you even recommend a weighted vest. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing you can do is just getting a weighted vest and adding that to your daily activities. I see a lot of people using them on their walks.
Mhm.
I train beach volleyball 3 times a week. There is a man who wears a weighted vest training beach volleyball. So that's a great way to add some weight.
I would love to see you get off the air and spike with a weighted vest on, Claire.
Me too. I would love
In
that.
New Zealand.
Yes, yes. And some other suggestions are just set alarms. Many of us have smart watches, smartphones, and mine goes off and tells me it's time to get up. I just got an Aura ring, and that's been a really powerful reminder. So, getting some things that can give you some reminders. And if you don't have that, just set the alarm on your phone, get up and take a walk. Those steps add up and create a profound difference.
Mhm. So I just briefly saw a question in the chat. What amount of weight do you normally recommend in a weighted vest?
It really is individual. And I what I would do is I would start small and just start adding up. Most of them have the capacity to do that. One of the most important things is I will see people wearing the weighted vest, but they're hunched over and they're walking up hills. And the most common fracture, Dr. Martin, referenced a statistic that 1 out of 2 women will have a fracture because of osteoporosis. The most common place to have them is the spine. And so you want to make sure no matter what, if you get a 3, 5 pound or onward, that you wear it with pride. You've got that nice posture I talked about, so you get some good breath work, but also that your spine is stacked in a really safe way. So you're building bone, building your core while you're walking.
So good. I actually read that in order to get the best benefit from a weighted vest, that you're looking for about 3 to 4 times a week. The sweet spot is around 30 minutes during those sessions. But you could do that just with housework, doing the laundry, doing the dishes. So you don't actually have to go outside. You could just wear it indoors and get all these amazing benefits as well.
Well, in
What
fact, I would
are
say that's the best way, just to
yeah,
say, like, just plan on doing it while you do your chores and your housework, then you'll definitely get it in every day. Don't wait for the walk.
yes. What other quick, easy things could people do
Mm.
in their homes while they're at their desk on the computer? What other suggestions do you have for our audience?
Okay, so I have a few that I have been research proven to help. One of them is it almost seems like a nervous heel tap, heel toe tap, but rocking your heel toe back and forth does a few things. One is it vibrates your bones, and that actually stimulates bone growth, and you want that. So that tapping. It also improves your coordination. So something so simple as when you're on a phone call doing that heel toe rocking or you're working doing that. There's vibration plates that I know people get as well. The other thing that I would recommend is just, kicking your leg out. And whenever you take a phone call, get up and take a walk.
Mhm. Absolutely. And I know we have more questions in the chat, which we can definitely try to answer at the next call. But I just wanted to leave everybody with this is that if you want to boost your immune system, if you want to heal faster, if you want to reduce inflammation, if you want to age slower, fix your metabolism. That is the bottom line. And so, Jen, we're going to throw it back to you so that you can close us out.
Oh my goodness. This was an incredible evening, you guys, with incredible information. I've been watching the chat tonight, so many people sharing their experiences, and so much gratitude for everything you shared. So, Claire, Mary Ann, thank you so, so much. Appreciate both of you. Hey, if any of you are wanting to watch or listen to this talk again, I'll tell you in just a moment how to catch the replay. But first, something else you might want to catch is Dr. Anderson's Conscious Forum, which is happening tomorrow, Tuesday, October 14th. Normally, this forum is on the first Tuesday of every month, but it was moved from last week to this week. That's right. You can catch it tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. And the topic he'll be teaching on is what is required to become a healthy person. What a great topic to follow up from tonight's webinar. Come learn from Dr. A. But as always, after he's done teaching his topic, he actually opens up the forum so that you can ask Dr. Anderson any questions you've got. in relation to health. So maybe some of those questions that weren't answered tonight, come ask Dr. A tomorrow. So join us for that. And yes, there's a replay if you can't join us live. Speaking of replays, you can catch the audio recording of our immunity talk from tonight and all past recordings by subscribing to our Optimal Health Community podcast. And you can also catch the video recording on our YouTube channel found at Optimal Health 365. And you're going to want to come back for next week's webinar because we're going to be talking about the power of community. We all know the difference it makes, right? Thanks so much for being part of the community tonight, and we will catch you on next week's Let's Talk. Good night, everybody.